Today on the Bender Buzz, we are going to talk about the hot topic of whether or not you should do a pre-inspection before putting your house on the market. There's several pros and cons, but before we get to that, I want to talk about the overarching mechanism of the inspection contingency. The inspection contingency is completely subjective, and actually a buyer doesn't have to do the inspection in order to cancel the transaction. In other words, if they just get cold feet, they can cancel due to the inspection and there's nothing you can do. They could go through the motions of doing the inspection, but honestly, there's no point. Once a buyer has said, I'm not interested, I'm going to use the inspection to get out, that's that. And now your property has a stigma. Any buyer that is considering your property that looks at the property history is going to see it went pending inspection, and their first thought is going to be, I wonder what's wrong with the house that's so bad that the other buyer backed out. Now, of course, we would try to overcome that by saying buyer didn't do an inspection, buyer got cold feet, but emotionally this is what happened. So let's now talk about the pros and the cons of doing a pre-inspection. So the first thing is peace of mind for the buyer. They are spending a lot of money to purchase your house, and it is natural that they would want to have an inspection on such a huge purchase with so many mechanical aspects to it. The next thing is that it helps speed up the process. If you've done a pre-inspection, they've Googled the inspector, they trust what the inspector is saying, they could go ahead and waive the inspection up front, which means the appraisal can be ordered much more quickly, which means the sale can close a lot faster. Number 3, you're mastering the negotiations. Instead of having the buyer insert their opinion on how the repair should be done, you get to pick who does the repair and the scope of the work. Number 4, you can stand out from the crowd. If there's several listings all similarly priced, but yours has the pre-inspection, you're going to stand out from the crowd. And it also shows that you are willing to be transparent with the buyer about the condition of the house. Now, on to the flip side of the coin. Let's chat about those kinds of things that might make you hesitate. But before I do that, can I ask you a favor? If you find any value in this video, please hit the like button, the subscribe button, and the notification bell. It makes the YouTube algorithm happy. So the first con would be the cost factor. An inspection isn't free, but sometimes agents will go ahead and reimburse you for the cost of that inspection at closing. Number 2, unnecessary repairs. You might end up making repairs that a particular buyer might have been okay doing themselves. Not all buyers are opposed to fixing things. Number 3, an as-is perception. And what that means is there could be buyers out there that think that now you're not open to doing any work or that you're not open to negotiations because you've already completed the pre-inspection. So it's sort of a double-edged sword. Number 4, you've got the disclosure dilemma. Anything that you find out about, you will have to disclose if you haven't fixed it. So if you find, what do they call it? Inspectors have words for mold when they don't want to say the word mold. Discoloration. If the inspector finds discoloration on the sheathing in the attic, you're now going to have to disclose that. Again, remember that probably any buyer is going to want to either do their own inspection or review one that you provided, and or also conduct their own inspection even if you do provide an inspection to them. So where is the sweet spot? How do we balance the scales? Well, first, pick wisely. If your house is older and really quirky, you may want to go ahead and have it pre-inspected so that there's no surprises. But if it's relatively new and squeaky clean, you might be able to get away without doing one. Number 2, the pricing puzzle. If you do a pre-inspection and you do find some items, you can go ahead and preemptively price in the cost to make those repairs. you would want to talk with your agent about what makes sense. Number 3, have open communication and be transparent with the buyer about the condition of the house. Remember, an inspection contingency is completely subjective. So if you can get a buyer who is happy with the report you provided and they waive the inspection, that is amazing for you. That buyer does not get a second bite at the apple. They don't get to renegotiate terms, and you are one step closer to closing. If you found that information helpful, I think you're going to love the seller book that I can send to you, either hard copy or digitally. Just look for the link below in the very first comment or in the description box, and I will get that over to you right away. If you have any real estate needs, either selling or buying, or both, please give the Lisa Bender Sound to Summit team a call, where you get old-fashioned service using today's tech. And until I get a chance to talk to you, take good care. Bye-bye.